Hi, I'm Christina Myers, host of The Stina Life. In today's episode, we will explore how energetic attachments can wreak havoc on our energy field, leaving us feeling drained, and how a few simple daily practices can help you keep your energy field protected. Let's get into it. Hello, my friends, and welcome to the podcast. I'm so happy to have you here. And if you're new to the podcast, welcome. We have been going through a lot of shifts this last week for sure. The energy has been very, very, very hard. And this new moon in Cancer, along with the nodes changing signs, have really been felt at a very deep level. For about the last week, I know I personally have been experiencing a lot of headaches, just extreme exhaustion, the need to just really stop and take care of myself. And that new moon in Cancer also is bringing up a lot of emotions for a lot of you, and asking you to really come back home to yourself, to put the focus back on what you need and what your body needs. And our nervous systems have really been taking a big hit lately because we've had so many changes, just astrological, in the geomagnetic field of the earth, the solar flares that are coming on, the just all kinds. We're getting bombarded right and left. And that 777 portal also was a big game changer because there were so many codes coming in and our bodies are just spent. They are just, it's trying to hold so much energy and so many codes, and it just is completely shot. I feel like the fuse has gone out on my body. And so, for many of us, it's really hard to just take a rest, especially if we have been very hyper vigilant people. And if you are someone who is a trauma survivor, whether that's emotional, mental, physical trauma, we tend to get in very hyper vigilant mode in our systems. And so it's hard for us to unwind. It's hard for us to really, truly rest and do absolutely nothing. And a lot of times when that happens, we have to be forced into rest, which is not the best thing to do. Usually our body starts to break down, it gets ill, and it's so exhausted that it forces you to rest. But right now, we really need to be very proactive about taking care of ourselves and making sure that we are drinking plenty of fluids, that we are eating very healthy foods, and that we are taking the time for even just a 10-minute nap, a 15-minute nap during the daytime to help us recollect ourselves and to help our bodies try and move through all of the changes that we are going through right now, because it is a lot of stuff that we are trying to handle. And that doesn't include just our day-to-day life and trying to manage our energy field just through our day-to-day lives. I know every day we are made of energy. 96.5% of everything's energy, including you. And if you break it down at the subatomic level, everything is energy. So you are an energetic being, as is everything else, the plants, the trees, the animals, everything. And your energy field, every human's energy field, usually goes out about 16 feet from their system. So you have about a 16-foot diameter around your physical body that is your energetic body. And if you think about 16 feet and how much space that takes up, that means that you are crossing a lot of other people's energy fields all day long. So every time you go to the store, every time you drive down the street, even every time you interact on social media, you are conducting an energy exchange with other people. You're sharing your energy with them, and they in turn are sharing their energy with you or projecting their energy onto you. And as we move through the day and we go through this, we have crossed the paths of many, many, many people. We have interacted with a lot of people every single day, sometimes hundreds of people. I mean, if you think about just going to the grocery store alone, think about how many people you pass by at the grocery store because you are, in the parameter of their energy field. And so you're exchanging energy all day long with people. And we don't really think about that as an issue. We don't think about it consciously, like, oh, we're crossing paths, we're exchanging energy. But we're exchanging energy all the time. And that collection of energy throughout the day, throughout the week, if we are not conscious of it and we're not really working to clear it or to protect our energy field, this can really start to add up. It can collect into a lot of extra stuff. And if you think about what other people are carrying in their energy field, you think about the stress they're under, the trauma that they're carrying, any of those things, you're also collecting that. You're exchanging that energy with folks. And so, energetic health is extremely important. And it's just one of those things that we don't think about at all. But as energy beings, I mean, your organs are made of energy. I mean, every single fiber of you is made of energy. And those unhealthy exchanges can really play havoc on your system. It can add up, it can clog it down, and it can really take a toll on you. And one of the big things that can happen, especially if you're exchanging in relationships, especially relationships, you have very close relationships like family members, parents, children, and then you have acquaintances, friends and acquaintances that you interact with, and then you interact with complete strangers, or so they are strangers. They're not really strangers, but they are. And so you're interacting with these folks all day long. Well, what can happen is that you can form energetic cords of attachment with other people just by interacting with them every single day. And these are very subtle energy attachments. They can be very extreme depending on the relationship and the depth of the relationship. And so, when I work with clients, these are one of the things that I always check on is, are there any energetic attachments or cords or swords within the energy field that have been collected over time? And probably 80-90% of the time, there absolutely are cords that have been formed. And these can be positive cords. So if you have really great positive relationships, positive energetic cords can form. But obviously, if the relationship is not so great or it's toxic, those cords of attachments can become quite detrimental to the energy field and to your health. How they look is there's a variety of how they look. Sometimes they look like little strings. Sometimes they look like ropes that are attached between you and the other person. And then, they get to be even thicker. Sometimes they look like a garden hose or an actual umbilical cord. And if you think about the umbilical cord that you had to your mother as a baby, I see a lot of them that look like that, especially within unhealthy family relationships where there needs to be some detachment between adult, child, and parent that has formed over time. And as I said, some of these can be very positive. And when you're in a group or you're in a healthy relationship, you want an energetic cord attachment, and you want that to be as healthy as possible. However, the ones that are unhealthy can really be detrimental to your health because it's a pull of your energy is what's happening. When someone's corded into you, they have an ability to not only pull your energy, steal your energy from you, they have an ability to also manipulate your energy field. And so this can get to be very serious at times when you are forming, having these cords continue to be attached. And if we're not really addressing on how to sever those cords, it can be very, 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 very detrimental. A lot of times I'll see this with toxic friendships and acquaintances. So there's those folks that maybe you have in your life that are more of emotional vampires, where they come in, they are, usually folks that are very traumatized. They usually talk about themselves all the time. They never really ask about you. They tend to seek advice from you all the time, but they don't take any advice that you give them. So you're giving them a lot of energy and a lot of attention and a lot of support. And then when they leave, you feel extremely drained from them. That is an energy cord that has attached between you and that acquaintance or friend that is very toxic. And that is one that needs to be addressed. You can also, pick stuff up just from complete strangers. I mean, literally just passing somebody at the grocery store or interacting online with somebody. If you're not really conscious about that person or conscious about your energy field before you go into interacting with them, that can be a way that somebody can move in, cord into your energy field, and actually start to pull the energy away from you. One of the deepest ones that we'll see with clients sometimes is around the sexual organs. We call that the sacral chakra area. And that particular area is very, very susceptible to when we have exchanges with other people sexually. And these can be some of the deepest chords, and some of the strongest chords can actually come from this particular exchange. Even if you stop communication with somebody, if you've broken up with them, there can still be an energetic accord of attachment between you and the other person. And again, if you're not conscious of it, or they are somebody who was manipulative within the relationship, they can pull into your energy field, they can leech your energy from you, and they can also continue to manipulate you. And this is also where a lot of master manipulators can access your energy field. And they are very, very good. Master manipulators are extremely good at being able to cord in and completely manipulate your energy field. So, this is one that is extremely important to be able to sever. So, if you're breaking up with somebody or you've had a toxic relationship, or just even say it was an okay relationship, but you are no longer together, these are cords that you really want to be aware of, and making sure that you are proactively trying to sever those cords as much as possible. We also can cord in other ways too, which is very interesting. Places that you visit, you actually can leave cords of attachments to places you've lived, places you visited, even houses that you've lived in. There's a lot of lived experience when you travel, when you live in a particular location for a while. And again, as long as it's positive, it's okay. But if there was a lot of negativity in a particular place of origin that you visited or lived in, that is a place in which you can actually have cords of attachment form that are not so great on your energy field. We can also have cords from our previous lifetimes as well. And so the trauma that we have had in previous lifetimes can get passed down from lifetime to lifetime. And we can also create cords of emotional, like fears that we have. If we have a fear of drowning, or we have a phobia about something, those things can actually get passed down from lifetime to lifetime as well. And then some of the other big ones that I see a lot is around belief systems or collective thought patterns. Depending on how you were raised, sometimes we can get very caught up in a belief system. I think the biggest, thing that I can probably equate this to is like our political system, right? Where we get very, very involved with like, I'm part of this party, or I'm part of that party, or I'm part of this belief system, or I believe that belief system. That can really form cords of attachment to other people who also believe the same way. And when we form into these belief patterns, these belief systems, that can really begin to amplify. when we start to cord into it. And it can become so ingrained in us that it can be very, very difficult to see outside of that in any way, or have a discussion with other people that may have a different perspective without getting heated or passionate about it in some way, or just not wanting to address it or look at it in a different way. So cords can also form within that for sure. And then we can also do that as far as just, thoughts in general, right? We can match the thoughts of other people who maybe have the same vibrational tone as we do regarding a particular thought pattern. So it's very common to see that within families. And then if we have, say, a global event, something that affects a lot of people, maybe it's a war, maybe it's a political movement, maybe it's something like that, we can start to, again, amplify these cords of attachments based upon having this, same thought pattern. So that can amplify it as well. And then one of the big things that I think a lot of people don't even think about is things you purchase and things that you bring into your home. Especially if it's an heirloom, if it's something that's inherited or something that's been in the family for a while. I've seen objects come into homes that were inherited, were family items, and they could, they hold their own energy and they hold their own attachments to them. And sometimes these objects can come in and just be horrible in the house. It can cause a lot of damage. Energetically, it can really wreak havoc, and it can hook into your aura and really start to influence behavior. And so, anything that you're bringing in, especially if it's a secondhand item, you just don't know you don't know the blueprint of that item. You don't know the storyline behind that item. And those particular pieces can actually bring so much energy into the house, and really cause some big, big problems. And also, just one more thing to remember is that, as an energy being, every place that you go, you are leaving an imprint. You are leaving residual energy of yours every place you go. And so does every other person on the planet, right? So as you travel through places, there's just residual energy that's being left there. And it could be residual energy from hundreds of years ago, but it's still there. I know when I have traveled to different places, especially if it's a country that has a very long history. I was just in England recently, and I could feel the residual energy of those thousands of years of people still, of residing there, going back to when the Romans occupied London. You could feel that residual energy there. And so it's very, very important to understand your environment, to understand that your energy field can be very susceptible. We all are very susceptible to outside influences, to people courting into us, to people sucking our energy. Those are all signs that we have some attachments that have formed. The biggest place that I see attachments is in the stomach area. Stomach area is our most susceptible area for exchanging information with people and courting in to them and them courting into us. And there are times where I've seen this, as I said, as an actual umbilical cord, depending on really the strength of the relationship, the amount of energy that's getting either sucked out, or the amount of energy that's being used to manipulate and control. But we all are carrying around some sort of cord, even if it's a minor cord. We tend to collect these as we move through the day. The second biggest place, as I talked about, was the sacral chakra, the reproductive area, because of the different experiences we've had with partners. and relationships. So that's the second place. And then sometimes we will see them in the heart chakra. And the other place that's very common to see is at the root chakra, based upon the family lineage and tying in with the family belief systems. And then the throat chakra is another place that we tend to see a collection of cords happening, because this is where we speak from. And so sometimes we have cords of people trying to restrict our speaking, restrict our sound from coming out. And so there can be a lot of cords and residual energy left there as well. So the big question is, how do you take care of your energy field? How do you protect yourself? How do you clear these out? So the number one thing is that, energy health is so very important. Just like you move your body physically, you move the physical body, that helps to move out energy, stagnant energy, helps to make you feel better in the physical form. The energetic body also needs attention every single day. It just does. And a lot of times we just forget that. One of the best ways that you can clear the energy field is to ground yourself in nature. So, literally, putting your feet on the ground. Putting your feet on the ground is one of the best ways to just ground in your energy, making sure that you are in control of your own energy field, and grounding in. The other thing you can imagine is, if you want to protect your energy field, you can imagine having golden light coming in all around you. And almost like you're inside this golden bubble, before you ever go out of the house, before you ever have an interaction. Every day, just imagine yourself in this golden bubble. Now, you don't want to be in a bubble all the time, because otherwise you don't get to form positive relationships. And you do want some of those cords, those positive cords, to be with you, especially with your children. You never, ever want to try and sever that with a small child, an underage child. But you do want to have these cords of attachment in these positive relationships. But if you're going to the grocery store, or if you feel like you're a highly empathic person who's very sensitive to collecting other people's energy, and some of you probably have this susceptibility quite largely. I see this a lot in my astrology readings too. A lot of empaths come to me, and when I'm doing an astrology read, I find that many of them are very tuned into the environment, the subtleties and the energy of the environment, and they are even more susceptible to collecting and holding the energy of other people and the collecting cords. So it's something to be very conscious of. If you feel very drained all the time, if you feel just exhausted and you can't figure out why, that's going to be a big clue as to you're probably holding on and having people cord into you and steal your energy. Or if you have those friends that come in and want advice all the time and are energy suckers, that's another really big clue that your energy field's open and you are susceptible and probably getting a lot of your energy leached from other people. So grounding, number one. Shielding is number two, bringing in that golden energy. The grounding's the red energy, and then the golden energy is going to shield you. One of the other cool things you can do, and easy things, is just a nice salt bath, Epsom salt bath. It cleanses the auric field every day, or just a shower. I'm a big person who has to take a shower at the beginning of my day and at the very end of my day. Before I go to bed, I wash away all of the energy in my energy field that I have collected throughout the day. And that helps just to wash it away. And then if you feel that you have cords of attachment in any way, you can literally go through and imagine cutting those cords of attachment. And Archangel Michael, if you are called to the archangels, can assist you also in just cutting those cords of attachment that you have. You are in control of your energy field. You have complete control over your energy field at all times. You have complete control over what you allow in and you don't allow into your energy field. And so your energetic health is extremely important. And protecting yourself is also extremely important. As I said, I'm seeing this a lot more with clients, and it can be very complex. It can be very layered work, and there can be a lot of different components that go into this, not just the cords themselves, but there's other energetic stains and contracts and other things that can come into your energy field that can really be impacting it. So if you don't feel like yourself, if you feel extremely tired, if you feel like something's just off, you really need to follow your gut instincts on this and seek an energetics practitioner who can assist you in navigating through some of these challenges. So shifting gears, I want to tell you about a couple of opportunities to work with me, as well as some gatherings that I'm going to be participating in. My friend Andrea Schickenbrock and I are offering an 8-week one-on-one container called Soul Sync Freedom Sessions. We've been working with quite a few clients in this particular offering, and I can tell you they have been so transformational for the clients. So much shedding, so much shifting. Anxiety is going away. Trauma loops are going away. ADHD is dissipating. Just releasing the ancestral, the past life, this lifetime, the traumas that they have been carrying for so long. And it's really shifting a lot and opening up a whole new world for them. I do have a couple of openings starting in mid-August. If this is something that calls to you, you can send me a direct message on Instagram or go to my website, stinamyers.com, and go to the contact page and send me an email. And we will set up a complimentary intro call with you to see what your intentions are and if this work is the right fit for you. In addition, I am also going to be a gathering grid worker at some upcoming events for my friend JJ Brighton. She has 2 events on July 30th, Sunday, July 30th, that I will be participating in. The first one is the Remembering Avalon Gathering, and that will take place at 8 a.m. Pacific time. These are really fun events because we get to gather together and we get to travel and experience a lot of amazing things, including doing some grid work for Gaia. The Avalon Gathering is a new one for her as we are going back to the golden age of Avalon, which is really Glastonbury in England. And the time of King Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table, and doing some work there. I just got back from England, where I was doing some work in Avalon, doing some grid work there. And so it's a really amazing gathering if you haven't attended. And then the other one is going to take place on Sunday, July 30th at 7 p.m. Pacific. And this is the Fairies, Dragons, and Elementals gathering. These are a lot of fun. They're just very light and airy. And we get to bring in the fairies and the dragons and the elementals and work with them. So if this is something that calls to you, you can register at JJ's website at activationswithjj.com. And for any one-on-one work, if you're interested in astrology reads for your natal chart, or you're interested in doing energy work with me, you can reach me at Stina Myers, MEIERS.com. Thanks for listening to this episode. You can find more information on sessions and classes at StinaMyers.com, or follow me on Instagram and TikTok at The Stina Life. If you've enjoyed this episode, please follow and review. Take care of yourselves, and I will see you next time.